Hi everyone! In this video we will simplify a rational expression. Simplify the quantity of 31y cubed minus 31 divided by the quantity 12y squared minus 57y plus 45. The first thing that's tempting to do is to try and cancel out terms on the numerator and denominator. But we can't do that because they're terms, not factors. Remember, terms are separated by a subtraction or an addition sign. So we must have a multiplication sign between any factors in the numerator and denominator before we can cancel things out. So in the numerator, let's go ahead and do some factoring first. I see that the two terms on the numerator have a common factor of 31. So let's go ahead and take out the 31. We'll factor it out, which leaves us with y cubed minus 1. Y cubed minus 1 follows the pattern of a difference of cubes. So that can factor even further into, we'll keep the 31 out here, and the y cubed minus 1 factors into a binomial and a trinomial. Taking the cube root of y cubed is y, and that gives us the first term of the binomial. The cube root of 1 is 1, and that gives us the second term of the binomial. Then we square the first term here to get the first term of the trinomial. Y squared is y squared. And then we square the last term of the binomial for the last term of the trinomial. 1 squared is 1. And then we multiply the two together for the middle term. 1 times y is just y. And then we fill in all of the addition and subtraction signs with our pattern of SOAP, meaning the first sign is the same as the problem, and since the problem has a subtraction sign, this means that it will be a subtraction. The O stands for opposite, which means the opposite of the first sign was a negative, so it'll be positive. And the last is AP, always positive, which means this is addition to the 1. Now that we've factored the numerator, let's go ahead and factor the denominator. And we're doing that because we're looking for factors that can cancel out to simplify a rational expression. And here we have a multiplication here and here, so we could simplify those terms on the top with dividing something on the bottom if they are also factors and not just terms. This one is not a difference of cubes, so let's see. The very first thing we always look for when factoring is the greatest common factor. And it looks like the largest number that can divide out of all of those is 3. So I'm left with 4y squared, and 57 divided by 3 is 19. So I have 19y, and 45 divided by 3 is 15. Now that we've taken or factored out the 3, we have a trinomial, and it doesn't factor anything else out, any greatest common factor. And we're going to need to use the AC method because the number in the front is not a 1. The AC method, we're going to multiply A and C. A is 4 and C is 15. So we'll multiply 4 times 15, which gives us 60. And then we'll find all of the factors of 60, starting with 1 and 60. Now that we have all the factors, let's go look at the signs. The last sign is positive. This means that the signs of the factors will be the same. They'll either both be positive or negative. And we look at the first or the middle sign. This is negative. This means that the signs will all be negative. And we can fill in our chart with negative factors. Now we need to find a combination that will give us the middle term of negative 19. And when we combine negative 4 and negative 15, this will give us negative 19. So now we can replace that negative 19 with negative 4y and negative 15y. So we end up with 4y squared, and we're replacing it minus 4y, and minus 15y for replacing the 19. And then we'll finish it with the 15 from the trinomial. Now that we have a 4-term polynomial, we're going to factor by grouping, and we group the first two and the last two. Looking for the greatest common factor in the first two is 4 and y, leaving us with y minus 1. And the greatest common factor in the second two is negative 15, leaving us with y minus 1. Now we have our two large terms, and we look for greatest common factor. And in this case, it's the binomial, y minus 1. And if I factor it out of each of these terms, I'm left with 4y minus 15. So we can replace that, 4y minus 15, and we still have the 3 on the outside. This is what the denominator factored into, so we can replace it here. 3y minus 1 and 4y minus 15. Now that we have factors and there's a multiplication in between each of those to prove that they are factors, I can look and see if there's anything in common with the numerator and denominator to see if we can cancel anything out. And in this case, y minus 1 cancels, and it looks like that's it. So we're left with 31 times y squared plus y plus 1 over 3 times 4y minus 15. We've now simplified this rational expression, and we're all done.